Depending on your perspective, MBA admissions interviews might be the most exciting or most dreadful part of the application process. For most of us, interviews elicit at least some degree of apprehension, but they don't have to be nerve-wracking. With preparation, an MBA interview should feel like an engaging conversation with someone highly interested in who you are and what you have to say. Hi, I'm Gavriella Semaya, Senior Consultant at mbaMission. Through the thousands of MBA applicants we've coached, we've learned a thing or two about what works in interviews and what doesn't. In this video, I'll discuss 5 tips for preparing for your MBA interview. But first, a few things you should know. Whether conducted by a current student, alumnus, or member of the admissions team, your interviewer will almost always be working off a predetermined list of questions provided by the school. The conversation may veer in different directions, but there's usually some consistency in the questions asked by each school. At mbaMission, we stay abreast of those questions by asking all our clients, hundreds each round, to report which questions they've been asked. This way, our mock interviews are based on real-time information about trending questions at each school. With a few notable exceptions, most interviews are blind, meaning your interviewer will only have access to your resume, not your entire application. This is great news because it means you're free to rely on the essays you worked so hard to craft for talking points. But more on that in tip number 4. Regardless of their affiliation with the school, 99.9% of interviewers want you to succeed. They're not trying to trip you up or stump you. They just want to get a sense of your background, your goals, your interest in their MBA program, and your personality. As our HBS interviewer in residence, Gavriella often says, most interviewers are nervous themselves because they're rooting for you to do well. Let's get to the tips. Tip number 1. Prepare your resume walkthrough. More often than not, in blind interviews, your interview will begin with some variation of tell me about yourself or walk me through your resume. This is your opportunity to set the stage for the rest of the interview because you control the narrative. Think of this as your opening statement. Practice in front of a mirror until it is down to 3 or 4 minutes at most. It's really hard to listen to someone talk non-stop, one-on-one for more than 3 minutes. Try it sometime. We recommend a chronological approach simply because it's easier to follow. Start with where you're from, where you went to college, what you majored in and why, what led you to your first job, and your high-level accomplishments there, and so on for the rest of your career. Depending on how lengthy your introduction ends up, you may include significant extracurricular activities. Tip number 2. Prepare clear reasons for why you are pursuing an MBA and why now. Most interviewers don't explicitly ask why now unless an applicant has well above or below the average years of work experience, but it's a good idea to have it thought through. Your answers will be naturally intertwined with your short and long-term goals because your goals are the primary reason you're pursuing an MBA in the first place. Bear in mind that you may be asked about your goals before or without being asked about why you are pursuing an MBA, so be able to speak to both answers fluidly. Tip number 3. Prepare 3 specific reasons you've targeted this program. Specificity is critical here. Think classes, concentrations, career paths. This is your chance to show your interviewer how well you know the school and therefore how sincerely you want to attend. Schools are always trying to gauge how likely you are to attend if admitted, and one key way to indicate your intent is by demonstrating how thoroughly you've researched the school. We recommend organizing your reasons for choosing an MBA into 3 categories: academic, classes, majors, case versus lecture method; professional, experiential learning, recruiting, centers for areas of interest such as entrepreneurship or healthcare, industry conferences; and cultural. Is the school collaborative? Is it diverse? Are there learning teams or sections? Lastly, avoid mentioning things that could arguably be said about any school, like its network or top-notch academics. Tip number 4, be ready for behavioral questions. These tend to appear as variations of tell me about a time when. We suggest preparing 5 recent stories, one for each of these themes: leadership, teamwork, overcoming a challenge or setback, dealing with diversity, and influencing an outcome. You may not hear a question pertaining to each of these themes, so think of this as an arsenal of multi-purpose stories. A leadership story could also be a story about overcoming a challenge, and vice versa. Behavioral questions can also be indirect. Instead of asking about an experience, your interviewer may ask what role you played on a team, or how you would describe your leadership style. The stories you've prepared can be translated to answer those questions as well. The key is to be well prepared but versatile. Tip number 5, prepare 3 good questions to ask your interviewer. Your questions should be positive and open-ended. Don't ask about something you could answer with a Google search. Avoid questions that are either overly broad, such as, how would you describe Kellogg's culture? Or overly specific, such as, how many classes are available in the Center for Leadership? And be sure to tailor your questions to your interviewer. You wouldn't ask an alum about current events on campus or an admissions interviewer about the student experience. For even more tips on questions to ask your interviewer, be sure to watch our video with mbaMission's founder, Jeremy Scheinwald. And one bonus tip, arguably the most important, be prepared, but be yourself. Interviewers want to be engaged and they want you to do well. Your goal is for your interviewer to walk away thinking about how much they enjoyed the conversation, how much you would add to the school's community, and how promising your future is. Relatedly, don't memorize your answers. Firstly, you will sound stilted, and secondly, you will be far more thrown off if you stumble on a memorized line than if you're well-versed in your talking points but not committed to a script. So there you have it. 5 tips and 1 bonus for preparing for your MBA interviews. For more advice about how to approach common elements of MBA interviews or the nuances of unique interview processes, such as Wharton's team-based discussion or Harvard Business School's in-depth, highly personalized interview, download our free interview guides, which are linked in the description below. We also offer mock interviews to help you prepare for the real thing, including those for Wharton and HBS. So if you're looking for one-on-one help, be sure to check those out as well. Finally, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for even more MBA admissions tips and advice.